Over a decade after the first human invasion on Pandora, the Omaticaya clan's chief, Jake, now lives peacefully with his wife, Neytiri, and their children. Their biological kids are Neytiri, Loak, and Tuk, while they also adopted two others, Kiri, born from Grace's avatar body, and Spider, a human boy. Spider was born in the human military base during the war, and since babies couldn't be put in cryo-sleep, he was left behind when the humans returned to Earth. Raised among the Na'vi, Spider feels more Na'vi than human, though Neytiri still struggles to trust him because he's the son of their enemy. One evening, the family looks up at the sky and is heartbroken to see the humans returning, once again destroying everything in their path. A year later, aboard one of the many human ships orbiting Pandora, soldiers' consciousness is transferred into newly created avatar bodies. One of them, Colonel Quaritch, wakes up confused until he's told that his memories were saved before his death and implanted into this new body. Watching an old video message from his human self, Quaritch learns that his mission is to hunt down Jake and take revenge for his previous defeat. Meanwhile, Jake leads a guerrilla resistance with the Omaticaya warriors, targeting human supply lines. While most fight using traditional Na'vi weapons, Jake still prefers using guns and modified human tech to communicate with his family. During one of their raids, Loak recklessly disobeys orders in an attempt to prove himself and ends up putting himself and Neytiri in danger. Under heavy fire, Neytiri gets injured, and Jake rushes to save him.
I'm sorry, sir.
When they return, Jake angrily scolds his sons for disobeying him. Neytiri tries to calm him down, reminding him they're still young, but Jake insists on being strict to protect them. Later, the kids visit Max, one of the few human scientists who sided with the Na'vi. His team runs a small lab where they keep Grace's comatose avatar body. Kiri often visits to watch Grace's old video logs and feels a deep connection to her, though her siblings tease her about not knowing her father. Spider, on the other hand, hates being related to the enemy and wishes he didn't know who his father was. Meanwhile, Quaritch and his avatar team arrive on Pandora's new human base. With faster technology, human settlements are spreading 3 times quicker than before.
These swarm assemblers, they can put up a building in 6 days. Earth is dying. We need to pacify the hostiles. Nothing less than to make Pandora the new home for humanity. But every time we send our forces up there, we take losses.
Outstanding.
Armed and ready, Quaritch leads his squad into the forest and is stunned to find remnants of his old body from the last war.
Clear.
At the same time, Jake's children, except Neytiri, are playing nearby. When they spot the soldiers, they hide and alert their father. Jake tells them to leave quietly, but before they can, Quaritch's team ambushes them. He immediately notices the children's mixed features and realizes they're Jake's. But what shocks him most is seeing Spider, his own son.
Where is he? Really? You want to play it this way?
Hey, don't touch her! No! Stop!
What's your name, kid?
Spider?
As Quaritch's group waits for extraction, Jake and Neytiri sneak into the area under cover of darkness. Neytiri gives a signal to her kids. Then she and Jake silently attack the soldiers from the shadows. The children take the chance to bite their captors and escape. Quaritch, recognizing Neytiri's arrows, mocks her to reveal her position, but Neytiri joins the fight just in time to protect his mother.
Dropped yourself a whole litter.
I will kill you as many times as I have to.
When a human ship arrives to evacuate Quaritch's team, Neytiri focuses on reuniting her children, unaware that Spider has been captured. Quaritch takes the boy with him as he retreats. Back at the human base, Spider is interrogated but refuses to talk despite the pain. Quaritch tries a softer approach, telling him that although he carries Quaritch's memories, he's not the same man, just a father who wants to know his son. Slowly, Spider begins to open up to him. Back home, Jake decides it's too dangerous to stay. Neytiri resists leaving her people, but Jake insists that Quaritch is targeting their family specifically. After appointing a new leader for the Omaticaya, they perform the traditional farewell ritual and set out for the Metcaina clan by the coast. The Metcaina are adapted to life underwater, able to hold their breath for long periods and ride aquatic creatures. When Jake's family arrives, Chief Tonawari and his wife Ronal are cautious because of their mixed blood and the risk of bringing war to their shores. But according to tradition, they must offer shelter to those in need.
Adapt. We will adapt.
It seems Awa has turned her back on you.
We cannot let you bring your war here. Treat them as our brothers and sisters. Teach them our ways so they do not suffer the shame of being useless.
Their children, Anung and Sireya, are tasked with helping the newcomers. Anung is dismissive, but Sireya warmly welcomes them. From then on, Jake's family works to adapt to reef life, learning to ride sea creatures called Ailu, and train their bodies to last longer underwater. While it's a struggle for most of them, Kiri effortlessly connects with the ocean, breathing easily and forming a natural bond with the marine life around her. Meanwhile, Quaritch and his team begin taking Spider along on their scouting missions, appointing him as their official translator.
Navi, we ride Navi. Think Navi. Come on, keep up, losers!
During one of their trips, Spider leads them to a nesting area of Ikrans, fierce flying beasts that can only be tamed by the strongest warriors. Quaritch decides to prove himself and attempts to bond with one. The creature attacks, and both of them tumble off a cliff. The squad assumes Quaritch is dead and prepares to head back. But moments later, he reappears triumphantly riding the tamed Ikran.
Who's up next?
Back at the reef, Kiri continues to grow closer to the sea and its creatures, drawing mockery from Anung and his friends, who tease her for being strange. Loak steps in to defend his sister, with Nedium following to calm things down, but Loak's temper gets the better of him, and a fight breaks out.
Let's go.
We're all freaks.
And it's funny. Look, I'm a freak.
When the adults intervene, Jake reprimands his sons for fighting. Though he understands their frustration, he reminds them they are guests and must not cause trouble. Neytiri comforts Kiri, who feels hurt about being different. Even her body marks her as unusual. With a small section of her face she hides beneath her hair. Later, obeying his father's command, Loak goes to apologize to Onung and his friends. Onung accepts and invites Loak to a distant part of the reef, pretending to teach him how to fish underwater. But it's a cruel trick. As Loak dives to focus on his prey, Aonung and his gang swim away, abandoning him. Now stranded far from home, Loak tries to find his way back. Suddenly, a huge sea predator attacks. Loak dives deep into the coral to hide, but quickly runs out of air and resurfaces. Gasping. The beast charges at him, but just in time, a massive whale-like creature called a tulkun appears, striking down the predator and saving Loak, who loses consciousness. When Loak awakens, he finds himself lying on top of the tulkun. Realizing the creature saved him, he befriends it and removes a harpoon lodged in its fin, a wound caused by human whalers. As a sign of gratitude, the Tulkun, named Payakan, safely guides Loak back toward the village before disappearing into the deep. When Loak returns, Tonowari apologizes for his son's behavior, but Loak takes the blame himself, claiming it was his idea to go alone. Jake scolds him again, calling him a disappointment for always causing trouble. Later, Aonung is surprised Loak covered for him. Loak admits he did it because he understands what it's like to constantly let your father down. The next day, Loak tells everyone about his encounter, and the villagers are shocked to learn he met Payakan, a Tulkun believed to be dangerous and exiled for killing others. No one believes Loak's story that Payakan is peaceful. Later, Loak visits his new friend again and asks why he was banished, but Payakan refuses to explain. They swim together, deepening their bond. Meanwhile, Sireya takes Kiri to the Metkaina's Tree of Souls, where Kiri connects with it and meets Grace's spirit. They share an emotional hug before Kiri asks who her father is and why she's different. Before Grace can answer, the vision shatters as Kiri suffers a violent seizure. Her siblings rush her back to the village, and Jake calls Max and his scientist team for help. However, it's Ronald's healing ritual that revives Kiri, using traditional medicine and chants. Max explains that Kiri experienced an epileptic episode and warns she must never connect to the tree again. Unknown to them, Max's ship signal was picked up by the human base before disappearing into the ocean. To trace it, Quaritch realizes he needs someone who knows the local waters and islands. He and his soldiers visit a human whaling vessel to demand cooperation.
Uh-huh. Are you the asshole who's commandeering my ship?
I'll be nice. Once.
When the whalers refuse, Quaritch brutally forces them to comply by threatening their lives. While a pod of Tulkuns visits Tonowari's village for their seasonal gathering, Quaritch and his men reach a nearby island. They capture the local Na'vi, demanding information about Jake. Spider witnesses Quaritch's cruelty firsthand. The interrogations grow violent, and Spider is horrified, begging him to stop. Quaritch ignores him and orders his men to burn the village to the ground.
Light him up! All of them!
Word of the destruction soon reaches Tonowari, who warns Jake that Quaritch is coming for him. Neytiri wants to strike back immediately, but Jake insists on waiting and planning carefully. In the meantime, Loak secretly visits Payakan again, while Aonung and his friends follow from a distance, eager to see whether Loak's stories about the Tulkun are true. Loak is determined to learn why Payakan was banished, so the massive creature opens its mouth, allowing Loak to swim inside and connect with its mind. Through this bond, Loak witnesses Payakan's memories. Years ago, human whalers attacked Payakan's mother, and in a desperate attempt to protect her, Payakan fought back, killing some of the attackers. Despite his bravery, his pod exiled him. Their kind forbids violence, no matter the reason. When Loak and the others return to the village, Tonowari and Ronald are furious, accusing them of disrespecting Tulkun customs.
So killing was forbidden. He is outcast.
I know.
By the end of the day, only Sireya stands by Loak, telling him she's proud of his courage. Meanwhile, Quaritch comes to realize that brute force won't make the islanders talk. So, he agrees to assist the whalers in hunting Tulkuns, knowing their deaths will provoke Jake to come out of hiding. Spider is forced to watch in horror as the whalers launch specialized ships equipped with sonar trackers designed to locate the Tulkuns by sound. The real reason for the hunt sickens him. They only harvest a small gland in the creature's brain that halts human aging, discarding the rest of the massive body.
Low! Where there's gaps in the arm.
One away.
30 meters. Line's running.
Highly intelligent beings, probably smarter than us.
When the villagers later discover the mutilated Tulkuns floating dead in the water, they immediately blame Jake's family. Though many want to strike back, Jake calms them down, showing the tracker device he found in a Tulkun fin. He explains that it's a trap meant to lure them out, and insists they stay hidden and warn the remaining Tulkuns to swim far away. Realizing that no one will warn Payakan because of his exile, Loak disobeys orders and goes after him alone. Ignoring Neteyam's warnings, he swims far into the open sea. Neteyam follows with his sisters, Eonung and Sireya, and they find Loak trying to pull a tracker off Payakan's fin. They all jump in to help, but it's too late. The tracker has already transmitted their location to the whaler ship. Loak quickly alerts his father through the communicator, and Jake warns the entire village, ordering everyone to arm themselves and ride their eyeless into battle. The kids manage to detach the tracker and swim away with it, hoping to divert the hunter's attention from Payakan. But that's exactly what Quaritch planned. He sends his soldiers after them, leading to a long and tense underwater chase. The kids surface occasionally for air, which allows the humans to catch up and trap Loak, Tuk, and Sireya in a massive net. From inside the ship, Spider sees his siblings being captured and tries to intervene, but he's overpowered and locked up while the kids are tied to the railing on deck.
Get on your knees.
Soon, Jake and the villagers arrive, ready to attack, but they halt when they realize their children are being held hostage. Quaritch takes Loak's communicator and taunts Jake, ordering him to surrender alone or watch his kids die. Just as Jake begins to approach, Payakan bursts out of the ocean, crashing onto the ship and tearing through its structure with its fins and tail. Bullets bounce harmlessly off its thick skin as it smashes through the deck, sending soldiers flying. Taking advantage of the chaos, Jake signals the Na'vi to attack. The whalers retaliate, firing harpoons at Payakan, but the creature dives, wrapping one of the steel cables around a nearby ship and ripping it apart. Chaos spreads across the battlefield as Na'vi warriors and sea creatures overwhelm the human forces. Kiri uses her deep bond with the ocean to command sea plants to ensnare submarines, while Spider, still aboard the burning ship, destroys the control systems and spreads the flames using the ventilation fans. The main vessel begins to flood and sink. Meanwhile, Jake and Quaritch face each other in a brutal one-on-one fight. Both start with their weapons, but after running out of ammo, Jake calls his Ikran to attack Quaritch's mount, sending both riders plunging into the sea below. Nearby, Payakan is attacked again by whalers, but in a swift counter, it leaps high into the air, using the attached harpoon cable to smash the hunter's boat to pieces. On the main ship, Neteyam climbs aboard amid the chaos and frees his siblings. The girls dive into the water to escape, but Loak insists on rescuing Spider, forcing Neteyam to stay and help. At that same moment, one of Quaritch's soldiers grabs Kiri and drags her back onto the ship, tying her up. Seeing this, Tuk persuades Sireya to go back for her. As soon as they return, Quaritch appears, shoving Sireya off the edge into the sea and seizing Tuk as his next hostage. The humans are already leaving the sinking ship, making it easier for Loak and Neteyam to move around and strike them by surprise. As soon as Spider spots them, he joins the fight and reunites with his brothers. But soon, they're forced to flee when more soldiers appear, firing rapidly at them. Neteyam tells his brothers to dive into the water while he stays behind to hold off the attackers with his weapon. Moments later, Rhea arrives on her Ilu and offers them a ride. They wait for Neteyam to follow, but when he finally jumps into the water, they realize he's been hit by a bullet. The group quickly takes him to a nearby island so Jake and Neytiri can check on him, but tragically, Neteyam dies in their arms. Just then, Quaritch contacts Jake, telling him he has his daughters, and demands he come alone. Jake sends Neytiri away on her Banshee as backup, then heads back to the ship with Spider leading the way. Loak is ordered to stay behind, But once again, he disobeys and follows them back. The soldiers are already waiting for Jake at the front, but Spider shows him a hidden way inside, giving Jake a chance to throw a grenade and set off an explosion. The blast causes chaos, and Jake and Neytiri take the opportunity to jump in and take down soldiers one by one. Neytiri, overwhelmed with rage and sorrow, fights like a fury so much that Spider becomes too afraid to go near her since he resembles the enemy. Jake manages to find and free Took, but Kiri is missing. It turns out Quaritch saw him coming and captured Kiri to use as leverage. Jake drops his weapons, and Spider steps out from hiding to plead for Kiri's safety. Neytiri suddenly appears and seizes Spider, threatening to kill him to force a trade one child for another. When Quaritch refuses, Neytiri injures Spider to prove she's serious, forcing Quaritch to release Kiri to save his son. Neytiri quickly takes her children toward the water to escape, but Jake stays behind to finish the fight, knowing Quaritch will come again if left alive. Jake and Quaritch engage in a brutal hand-to-hand battle as the ship continues sinking deeper, flipping and trapping them along with Neytiri and Tuck inside. Kiri and Spider manage to stay outside, and when Loak arrives to search for his family, the three of them split up to cover more ground. Using her bond with the sea creatures, Kiri guides Neytiri and Tuck out of the wreck through underwater tunnels. Meanwhile, Jake gains the upper hand and subdues Quaritch, leaving him to sink into the ocean. After the long underwater fight, Jake runs out of air, but Loak finds him and helps him reach a pocket of air, reminding him of Rhea's breathing techniques. Elsewhere, Spider discovers that Quaritch is still alive but unconscious. After a moment of inner conflict, Spider chooses not to abandon him and pulls his father to the surface. Payakan also returns to rescue Jake and Loak, and Jake finally tells Loak he's proud of him. The family reunites with Neytiri and the girls, while Spider leaves Quaritch on a small island and watches as his Ikron comes to pick him up. When Quaritch wakes, he urges Spider to escape with him, but Spider refuses and dives back into the water to rejoin his true family. Later, the Sullys perform Netiam's burial according to the ways of Tonawari's clan. Once the ritual ends and Netiam becomes one with nature, Jake and Neytiri connect to the Tree of Souls, allowing them to see their son's spirit one final time.